It's time for another Dice Tower review with Zee Garcia.
Hey everybody, today I'm taking a look at Overseers here, which is a drafting, sort of bluffing, sort of push your luck card game with a really bizarre theme in which a goddess has sent overseers to the earth to watch over the proceedings and collect cards and score points, or something like that. The theme is clearly pasted on here. It makes for cool illustrations, so that's neat. And then there's the gameplay. Is that gameplay any good? Let's find out. The objective of the game is to get the most of these coins, and at the end of 3 rounds, whoever has the most is the winner of the game. So I'm going to give you an overview of what one round looks like, and then you have an idea of how the whole game plays. Each round, we're going to decide who the star player is here. This normally would go from the first to the second round, and then again from the second to the third. To whoever has the lowest score at that point, at the beginning of the game, it's just random. Everyone is going to get one of these character cards that they immediately reveal. We set the other ones aside, and then we shuffle up the deck of cards here and deal 6 to everyone, also setting the other cards aside. So these are just the extras for now, and then you can begin the round. The round is going to have several phases. The first one is deal, which we already did. After that comes the draft. Everyone's going to look at their hand of cards, and they are going to keep a card, pass the rest to the player on their left, and so on, until out of these 6, you have drafted 5. Last card just gets discarded out of the game. And these are going to give you victory points in varying ways. Very simple. So, for example, these anger cards give you 6 victory points, as it says down here, whereas these lust cards give you 3, and courage has a scale at the bottom where a single card in courage gives you 2, but 2 cards gives you 10 points, and 3 cards 18 points, and so on. There's a few different styles of cards like that. And so you're going to pick something you want to keep. You can go for the sure thing with anger, let's say, or I can play hoping to get more courage with those. Keep them, pass the rest to the next player, whereas that player would have kept 1 and passed these to me. Then I would look at those. Here we have some new ones. Benevolence is 4 victory points. Greed is only 2 victory points, but it has a secondary power a little later on in the game, and so on, all right? So everyone has 5 cards. So I'm just going to give myself a hand over here. Once that's done, we've done the draft, then we do the placement phase. And by the way, before I go on any further, I do want to explain the powers here. Everyone has one power that sort of gives them a special boost throughout the round, and they tell you on the little cheat sheet here that everyone's going to have when, the phases and when those powers can be triggered. And so, for example, this one right here happens during the draft. It says that you can, whenever you want to during the draft, force players to keep 2 cards. And so if you get a hand, you really want to keep 2 cards out of that hand, you use your power, and you keep 2, everyone else keeps 2 as well, and that's it. So those are how those work. Once everyone has their hand of 5 cards, you are then going to place them. And the way this works is you put 3 face up, 2 face down in your area. Yet again, there are powers that are going to come into play here. Like this one, for example, in the placement phase, says that you are only required to show 2 cards, and you hide 3. And so in my case, I would show 2, hide 3, but normally you would do, let's say, this. And this is not random. You get to pick which ones. Obviously, this is part of the strategy. And so I would show that, for example. I'm giving other players part of the information as to what's in front of me. Again, I know I'm ignoring my power, but this is normally how this would work. So, once everyone has seen everyone else's cards, then you move on to the vote phase, in which everyone will discuss, take a look at all the cards around the table, and figure out who they think has the highest score at the table. And then we'll all vote on who that person is. And so, for example, let's say this player votes over here, this player votes over here, and I get 2 votes on myself. All right? Whoever's got the most votes, with this player, again, breaking ties, they have a choice now to make in the judgment phase. They have to admit that they have the highest score, or they think they do, or they can deny it. If you admit it, you are going to get rid of 2 cards in front of you of your choice. If you deny it, nothing happens. We move on to the next phase, which is the showdown. In the showdown, we are going to reveal all of the cards. And we'll take a look at everyone's score. You can now figure out the score. So for me, for example, 10, 16, 18 would be my score. All right? And everyone would do this. Now, if in the previous stage I denied it, and I do in fact have the highest score, I have to get rid of 2 cards, but it's the ones that would give me the highest score. Okay? And so in this case, I would get rid of these 2, I'm pretty sure, right? Because this one loses me 6, this one loses me 6. Whereas if I had been able to pick myself, I could have gotten rid of these 2, for example. All right? So that's how that works if I denied it. However, if I denied having the highest score, and in fact, I did not have the highest score, I get a card from the set-aside cards at the beginning of the round and add it to my pool. So therein comes that push-pull concept where if other people vote on me, they have to be very careful in doing so to make sure that I actually seem to be the one to have the highest score, and I have to be careful with my choice as to whether I deny it or I admit and get rid of some cards. I'm pushing my luck, you know. Once that's done, and that the showdown phase is done, then we go to the greed phase, in which we check out who's got the most greed cards, and the player that has the most is going to steal 1 card from another player. The selected player decides what card they give up, and then finally we do the scoring where everybody figures out how much they make, and you grab some coins here, put them in front of yourself. Throughout this round, that's the end of the round, by the way. Throughout this round, of course, we would have also dealt with these 2 powers. This one here would have happened during the voting, and it says that you choose 1 card from your combination, you turn it horizontally, and you put it face down under any other card, and that card will be a copy of the one on top. So you get to do some tricky stuff. And then this one over here would be at the very end of the round during the scoring phase, and it says that in the scoring phase, the player of your choice will lose 1 point for each card in their combination. So again, a little bit of take that as well. That's it. Once that's done, you shuffle up the characters, deal them out again, you shuffle up the deck, deal them out again, play the same round, give this to whoever has the fewest coins at that point. Do that 3 times. Highest score, highest amount of money is the winner of the game. So as you can see, a pretty straightforward game. This one is simple to play, fairly simple to teach. Let me talk about the production of the game itself first, and I'll talk about the game proper. The game is well made. This packaging is very well made. It's attractive. The components are very well done. Coins are nice. Cards are decent quality. They're good. The whole thing is well put together, and then these are also very well done. They tell you all the information you need to know so that you know what's going on in the game. You know, I should mention that the artwork is very stunning, but there are some scantily clad women in here, so if that bothers you, just be aware of that. The gameplay itself is interesting. It's nice and breezy. It sort of has a different vibe to it than most card games, and I think what does it is that that idea of being told that you have the most and then deciding if you in fact do think you have the most victory points or not. It's that push your luck combined with admitting that you are going to win. It's a strange concept, you know, and so it's yet another level of push your luck. The drafting's nice and easy, and then that decision, you know, of yeah, maybe I am going to beat everyone, so I'm just going to give up 2 cards now and not risk giving up 2 really good cards, right? The special powers are cool, you know, very straightforward. They tell you right there on the card what it is they do. So I like it. It definitely does not overstay its welcome either. 3 rounds feels about right in this one. I would recommend that if you enjoy games that are both traditional feeling and have that simple drafting set collection concept, which this one does, with then a little twist on top of that, which is that push your luck concept to it. You know, I also really like the greed idea in this game, where those cards are not as good, but if you kept the most greed, you get to, you know, swipe a card from somebody else. So yeah, this is neat. I like it, and I recommend it. I'm going to give this one a seal of approval. If you are looking for something just outside the norm, I would say check this one out. It's a stunning looking game and a fun game to play as well. That's Overseers.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at Dicetowernetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.